Abby. This is Abby Matt Reads. Welcome to my Christmas book haul, where I'm going to show you all the books that I was either given or picked up over the Christmas holidays. Hope you all had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. This library today is the New York Public Library. It's the second largest public library in the US and the third largest in the world, which is amazing. And you can see it's just so expansive. The main branch is guarded by two lion statues, Patience and Fortitude, and it was made a National Historic Landmark in 1965. So let's get on with the books that I have just got. First of all, I'm going to show you the two books that are part of a series because there's not much I can really say about them without spoiling it for people who haven't read the first books in the series. The first book I am going to show you is Laini Taylor's Muse of Nightmares. Now, this is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, which is a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. I tried to read it for the read-along, but I got all the dates mixed, so I ended up just reading it on my own. And I knew I wanted to read Muse of Nightmares straight away, but I had to wait until Christmas because I can't afford to buy kind of like hardback books just at any time of the year, only special times of the year for Abby. This is great. Look, it's got red pages. I've never had a book that had pages like that before. Anyway, if you know what happened at the end of Strange the Dreamer, you will know that Laszlo and Sarai, I think you pronounce it, are in a bit of a predicament. And in this book, he has to choose between saving Sarai and saving the city of Weep. This next book is The Heart Forger by Rin Trupecco. Hope that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if it isn't. But this is the sequel in the trilogy of The Bone Witch. Now, The Bone Witch is about a young woman named Taya. It's spelled T, as in the drink, but I'm sure there was a part in the book where she said to pronounce it Taya, where she became a bone witch, which is basically a necromancer, when she accidentally brought her brother back to life. And there's these kind of, it was a good world to be in. It was very immersive, very descriptive, sometimes a bit too descriptive. I didn't really understand a lot of what was going on, but I really liked the plot and the story. There's this kind of war going off with these faceless beings. And in the last book, Taya mastered the art of resurrection, and now she is after revenge for what has happened to her, and she can control these horrible, scary beings called Devas, I think that's how you pronounce it, and she's going to use them basically to wreak havoc. So I'm looking forward to finding more out about this. Now I'm going to show some books that I've already started reading even, or have already read. I bought 3 Philippa Gregory novels. I love Philippa Gregory. As you all know, I love historical fiction. I bought The Red Queen, The White Queen, and The Kingmaker's Daughter. They are all in the kind of Cousins War thing, which is kind of back the first part of the Tudor reign, really, where the fallout of the War of the Roses has happened, and the country is divided between the Lancasterians and the Yorks. And I've started reading a bit of The Red Queen, which is about Margaret Beaufort, who was the mother to King Henry VII. And it's really interesting at the moment. What's going on so far is that she has been married at 12, had a baby at 13. She's very headstrong. She thinks she's destined for brilliant things. I mean, I could say spoiler alert, she is, but it's a matter of history, so it's not as if I'm spoiling the book. It's all based on fact, although Philippa Gregory does kind of bend the truth a bit for entertainment purposes. But I'm going to try and read these 3 all in a row because they're all in chronological order. I'm very proud of myself for remembering that word, and I'm really looking forward to them. The Sorkill Girls by Claire Legrand is a book I'm buddy reading with Emma Rose at the moment, and we're kind of liking it. It's about this kind of island of Sorkill where girls go missing all the time. There's these kind of legends of this being called the Collector, who may be taking young women, and it's quite scary, it's quite creepy. So far I'm not too impressed with the characters or the relationships. It's not that organic. It's not that quite believable. I know it's a horror book, so it's going to go into things that aren't necessarily day-to-day life, but it doesn't actually like feel plausible, any of it. But it is good. It has got a good plot. It's very imaginative. These girls, Marion, who's just entered the island, her sister was one of the first to go missing. There's Val, who's the richest, most popular girl on the island, and she has a secret. And then there's Zoe, who is hell bent on finding out what happened to her missing friend Fora. And it's interesting, and I hope it picks up. But we are kind of enjoying reading it, and I'm happy to keep going. A book my brother has bought me that I've already read and talked about in my December wrap-up is The Witches of St. Petersburg. I'll link my December wrap-up down below in case you want to know like more of what I thought of this book. It's about witches, obviously, in St. Petersburg. Shocking. But these witches are sisters, Melitza and Anastasia. You've probably heard of Anastasia in the kind of falling Russian dynasty that happened. And they befriend the Tsarina, I think it is, like the female part of the Tsar, who desperately wants a boy, and they try and do whatever they can, and Rasputin pops up, and they think he is going to be the answer to all their problems, and it turns out to be more of a problem himself. This one is completely see-through, so I'm going to put it on a little icon then up there. It's Someone Like Me by M.R. Carey. I loved M.R. Carey's Fellside. I love the sound of all of his books. He's written 4. I've read 2. Someone Like Me, I finished this morning. Spencer bought it for me. It's a kind of thriller. M.R. Carey is really good at writing thrillers with a kind of like fantasy, paranormal kind of twist. And this is a good one. Liz, who's just got out of an abusive marriage, is struggling to control her anger. She feels as though someone is taking control of her body. As doctor suggests, she might have dissociative identity disorder. And that could be what happens, or that could be something else. And the second character, Fran, who is a 16-year-old girl who has a mental illness after being abducted at the age of 6. She can see something in Liz that isn't quite right, and it's really riveting, and it keeps you going to the end, and I'll talk more about it in my next wrap-up. Next book is The Light Between Us by Katie Kahn. I don't normally like romances. I think I've said that before. But the Katie Kahn's kind of sweet sci-fi kind of romances, they really actually make me happy. So it's a kind of diversion from your average kind of romance book. And this one is about Thea, who has a platonic friend, Isaac, that she met in university. Thea is kind of obsessed with the idea of time travel and stubbornly believes that it could be true, but she won't tell anyone why. And then when one of their friends goes missing in an experiment gone wrong, Thea and Isaac have to kind of team together to find this friend, to find out what has happened, and maybe their friendship will become a bit less platonic. But I found Hold Back the Stars, a previous book, just to be a really interesting take on romance, sci-fi romances. I think I'm really into it, and I can't wait to read this. Now I have decided I'm going to start trying to make more of an effort to read books that are very popular on BookTube, because I know I kind of go off onto books that not a lot of you have kind of heard about, and I do like doing that. I do like kind of picking more original books, But I've decided that I would like to just dabble in the books that you guys talk about a lot. So for my first pick, I picked my first ever V.E. Schwab book, A Darker Shade of Magic. And I'm really excited to read it. I love the premise of the story. It's about Kel, who is a traveller, a kind of magician that can go between parallel universes. And there are different types of London, each with different kinds of magic. And I'm really interested in which this Black London could be that sounds so mysterious. I've heard there's really good world building in this as well. So I'm hoping I like it, and then I can continue. I think this is a trilogy. Tell me down below if you've read this and if it's part of a trilogy or a duology or what, because I am just so behind on these kind of books. But yeah, I've heard the world building is great, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. Now I have Mythos by Stephen Fry. Like Circe, this is a kind of Greek god story kind of retelling. I didn't like Circe that much, but I love Stephen Fry's writing, so I'm hoping I'll like this too. And it's not just about one god. It goes into a lot of different tales, like as it says, Athena is born from the cracking open of the great head of Zeus and fellow doomed Persephone into the dark and lonely realm of the underworld. There's different stories, so if I don't like one, then hopefully I'll like another. And who doesn't love Stephen Fry? I had to buy this book once I saw it was written by Stephen Fry, and I hope I'll like it a lot more than I like Circe. Next book, and you can't see this so well either, so I'll get this also put up in the corner, is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I think this is going to be quite a moving book, but it looks really interesting. I had to pick it up. It's about a guy called Lael. Even though he is a Jew, he is given the job of tattooing the numbers on the Jews in the concentration camp of Auschwitz. And he's given quite a high up position in this camp. And then he immediately falls in love with a female Jew that's also in the camp, and he vows to use his position to try and save them both. It's based on a true story about this tattooist who falls in love and tries to basically escape the camp. I think it's going to be like a hard read, not as in like hard to read, but hard emotionally. But I am down for those kind of books as well, so this is a good find. Lastly is Grady Hendrix's new book, We Sold Our Souls. Grady Hendrix wrote My Best Friend's Exorcism, which was one of my favourite books of 2018. I love horror books anyway, and My Best Friend's Exorcism was fantastic, so I really want to read all his other work. This is about a woman called Chris who works as a night manager in a hotel. But in the 90s, she was a lead guitarist in a heavy metal rock band until the lead singer kind of sabotaged the band and left them all with a bad taste in their mouths, basically. Now, something shocking happens to Chris that makes her realize that this lead singer might have done something with his soul. And to put things right, she tries to get the band back together and hits the road and comes across all these very creepy places, these very disturbing places, and these places that just don't seem like I want to go personally, but I'm very excited to go there literally, so to speak. And I'm going to be buddy reading this with Sam from Sarcasm and Sci-Fi in February after Tome Infinity and Beyond ends, which I'm not taking part of this time, but she is, and it's a month-long thing, so I'm waiting until February to read this, and I think it's going to be well worth the wait. Okay, well that's it. Thank you for watching my haul. If you want to buddy read any of these books that I have just shown you, just comment down below or get to me on Twitter at AbbieMattReads. I also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/AbbieMattReads. If you have enjoyed this book, press the like button, please. I've told you over and over again how much I like the likes. And please subscribe. I have recently passed 200 subscribers and I'm so happy about it. Thank you for everyone who is watching this and has subscribed before. It has really, really actually made my year. This is my now 2nd year of booktubing, which I can't believe. It's nearly been a year since I started, and I'm loving it all. So thank you guys, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.